He is the boy who swings between skyscrapers, the face inside the mask, the global symbol of youthful heroism, Tom Holland. But the body inside that suit is not invincible. Before the fame, there was a child with a restless system, a diagnosis that slowed his learning, and a household that had to adjust around it. Before the applause, there were auditions that ended in silence and rooms where he was not chosen. And then came the price of glory, physical strain from stunt work, public scrutiny at a scale few can tolerate, and the psychological weight of becoming a brand before becoming an adult. What happens when a person's identity is decided before their brain finishes developing? And what does it cost the body to carry a character the world refuses to separate from you? He was born in Kingston upon Thames, a suburban zone where houses are close enough to hear your neighbor's routines. The environment was stable, structured, and quietly competitive. His father, a comedian, worked in rooms where laughter was measured and failure was immediate. His mother, a photographer, spent long hours shaping images into something worth keeping. Creativity was present, but so was pressure. As a child, he was not defined by talent first. He was defined by difficulty. He was diagnosed with dyslexia at a young age, not as a label for sympathy, but as a practical obstacle. Reading was slower. Processing written instructions took longer. In a standard classroom, where speed determines perception, he lagged behind. Teachers had to repeat instructions. Assignments required more time. His peers moved ahead in a system that rewards immediate comprehension. Dyslexia is not rare. Studies estimate that between 5% and 10% of the population experiences it in some form. But statistics do not capture the daily mechanics: the pause before reading aloud, the hesitation when writing under observation, the internal calculation before answering a question. For him, this meant early exposure to self-awareness. Not the reflective kind, but the kind that comes from being different in a visible way. His parents responded by shifting his environment. He was enrolled in a private school that specialized in supporting students with learning differences. This decision was not cosmetic. It changed the rhythm of his days. Smaller classes, slower pacing, repetition without judgment. It allowed him to function, but it also marked him as someone who required adjustment. Outside academics, his body became his advantage. He was active, constantly moving, drawn to physical expression. Dance entered his life not as a career plan, but as an outlet. Movement did not require decoding text. It required timing, coordination, and repetition. These were areas where he could compete without disadvantage. He trained in hip-hop dance. Hours were spent repeating sequences until muscle memory replaced conscious thought. The body learned what the mind struggled to process through text. This created a shift in identity. From the boy who struggled in class to the boy who could perform. The transition into performance was gradual, almost accidental. A talent scout noticed him during a dance performance. This was not a dramatic moment. It was observational. Someone watching a group, identifying precision, timing, and control. He was invited to audition for a stage production. The auditions were not immediate success stories. They were cycles of selection and rejection. Multiple rounds. Repetition of the same material. Adjustments based on feedback. Waiting periods where outcomes were uncertain. Eventually, he was cast in the West End production of Billy Elliot the Musical. The role required more than acting. It required sustained physical output, dancing, jumping, controlled falls, and vocal performance under fatigue. At that age, his body was still developing. Growth plates were not fully closed. Muscles were adapting to repeated strain. Performing multiple shows per week meant limited recovery time. This is where the physical reality of performance begins to show. Child performers often operate under schedules that mirror adult workloads. The difference is biological. Their bodies are not yet equipped for consistent high-intensity output. Micro-injuries accumulate. Fatigue becomes normalized. He performed in Billy Elliot the Musical for nearly 2 years. This period built discipline. It also introduced him to a system where performance is tied directly to approval. Applause becomes data. Silence becomes feedback. During this time, he learned to maintain consistency. Missing a cue was not an option. Physical exhaustion was not a reason to stop. The show continues. This phrase becomes literal in stage environments. After leaving the production, He did not transition immediately into film success. There was a gap. Auditions continued. Roles were limited. The industry does not guarantee progression. He attended the Brit School for Performing Arts and Technology, an institution known for producing artists but also for filtering them. Not every student leaves with a career. Many leave with training and no platform. The early years were marked by uncertainty. He had some visibility from stage work, but film operates differently. Casting decisions are influenced by marketability, timing, and existing networks. He secured a role in The Impossible, directed by J.A. Bayona. The film required him to portray a child in a disaster scenario, specifically the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. This role demanded emotional output beyond his age. Scenes involved distress, physical struggle, and prolonged exposure to simulated chaos. Water tanks, repeated takes, controlled environments designed to replicate disaster conditions. Filming these scenes is not passive. It involves repeated immersion, controlled breathing under stress, and maintaining performance while physically uncomfortable. Child actors in such environments are monitored, but the experience still leaves an imprint. The body remembers stress even when the environment is artificial. His performance was recognized. Critics noted his ability to convey fear and resilience. But recognition does not eliminate the underlying process. It simply adds visibility. At this stage, he was still forming his identity. The transition from private individual to public figure began here. Interviews, press appearances, and public scrutiny entered his routine. Adolescence is typically a period of experimentation and privacy. For him, it became structured and observed. Between projects, there were still gaps. The assumption that early success guarantees continuity is inaccurate. Many actors experience periods of inactivity between roles. During these times, the uncertainty returns. He continued to audition. Each audition required preparation, memorizing lines, adjusting performance, presenting himself for evaluation. Rejection remained a constant variable. Statistically, the success rate in acting is low. Thousands audition for roles that only a few secure. Even for those with prior credits, selection is not guaranteed. During these years, his body continued to be his primary tool. Dance training remained relevant. Physical coordination set him apart. He could perform movements that others required doubles for. This capability would later become a defining factor, but at this stage, it was simply part of his skill set. His family remained a stabilizing force. They provided structure, monitored his workload, and maintained boundaries where possible. This is critical in child performance environments, where external pressures can override internal limits. Despite support, the external environment was shifting. Social media platforms were expanding. Public figures were becoming more accessible, but also more exposed. Comments, opinions, and judgments were immediate and constant. For a developing individual, this creates a feedback loop that is difficult to regulate. He entered late adolescence with a growing resume but without the guarantee of long-term stability. The industry had acknowledged his presence, but had not yet defined his trajectory. At this point, he was not yet the global figure associated with a single character. He was an actor with potential, navigating a system that measures value through visibility and performance. The early realities of his life were not defined by a single breakthrough moment. They were defined by accumulation of small advantages, repeated efforts, and controlled environments that shaped his development. The dyslexia did not disappear. It became managed. The physical training did not stop. It intensified. The uncertainty did not end. It became normalized. This phase of his life is often overlooked because it lacks spectacle, but it is where the foundation was built. Not through dramatic events, but through consistent exposure to difficulty and adaptation. He learned to operate within limitations. He learned to convert physical ability into opportunity. He learned to exist in systems that evaluate constantly. And most importantly, he learned that progress is not linear. It is conditional. The shift did not happen gradually. It was abrupt, mechanical, and global. He was selected to play a character that already existed in public memory, a character with decades of history, multiple previous portrayals, and a built-in audience that reacts before it accepts. The role was Spider-Man, inside the expanding structure of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Casting him was not just a creative decision, it was a financial calculation. The franchise generates billions. Each actor becomes a variable in a system designed to scale globally. At 19, his body became part of that system. The announcement triggered immediate attention. Online metrics spiked. His name entered global search trends. The transition from working actor to public property began within hours. This is not metaphorical. Contracts define behavior. Public appearances are scheduled. Media training becomes routine. His first appearance as the character came in Captain America: Civil War. The role was limited in screen time but high in visibility. The objective was introduction, not exploration. From a physical standpoint, the demands increased immediately. The character requires agility, speed, and controlled impact. Unlike many actors who rely heavily on stunt doubles, he performed a significant portion of his own stunts. This decision was partly personal, partly strategic. Authentic movement translates on screen. Training sessions became daily. Gymnastics, flexibility drills, strength conditioning, and fight choreography. Each movement was repeated until it could be executed under pressure, with cameras, wires, and timing constraints. Wire work introduces a specific type of strain. The body is lifted, suspended, and redirected mid-air. Harnesses distribute weight unevenly. Bruising is common. Lower back compression occurs with repeated lifts. Filming schedules do not prioritize recovery. Scenes are shot based on logistical efficiency, not physical comfort. An action sequence may be repeated dozens of times to achieve the correct angle, lighting, and timing. In Spider-Man: Homecoming, his role expanded. He carried the narrative. Screen time increased. Dialogue, action, and promotional responsibilities multiplied. The promotional cycle is its own workload. Interviews across multiple countries. Time zone shifts. Sleep disruption. Repetition of the same answers to different outlets. Maintaining energy regardless of fatigue. Sleep deprivation affects cognitive function. Reaction time slows. Memory recall weakens. For someone already managing dyslexia, this adds another layer of difficulty. Despite these conditions, performance expectations remain constant. The film succeeded commercially. Box office numbers confirmed the decision. With success came reinforcement. More appearances, larger contracts, increased expectations. He reprised the role in Avengers, Infinity War and Avengers: Endgame. These productions operated on a larger scale. Ensemble casts, complex scheduling, extended shooting periods. Action scenes became more elaborate. Coordination with multiple actors, digital effects, and precise timing. Mistakes required resets. Resets require energy. During this period, minor injuries were not unusual. Reports and interviews reference strains, impacts, and physical exhaustion. These are not exceptional events in action filmmaking. They are part of the process. The body adapts by compensating. When one muscle group fatigues, another takes over. Over time, this leads to imbalance. Physical therapists are often present, but their role is maintenance, not prevention of all damage. At the same time, the psychological environment intensified. Public identity narrowed. He was increasingly identified not as an actor with multiple roles, but as a single character. This creates a form of compression. Individual identity becomes secondary to brand identity. Interviews often return to the same subject. Questions repeat. Personal narratives are reduced to key points that can be easily communicated. This repetition affects self-perception. When the same aspects of your life are highlighted consistently, they begin to define how you understand yourself. He continued to work outside the franchise. Films like The Devil All the Time and Cherry presented different roles. These projects required emotional range, physical transformation, and engagement with darker subject matter. In Cherry, he portrayed addiction. This required weight fluctuation, altered physical posture, and behavioral changes. The body had to reflect dependency, slower movement, reduced coordination, visible fatigue. Weight loss for roles is controlled but still impacts metabolism. Rapid changes can affect energy levels, hormonal balance, and immune function. Switching between physically demanding action roles and psychologically intense dramatic roles creates a cycle of stress. The body and mind are asked to operate at different extremes within short time frames. Around this period, he began speaking publicly about mental health. In 2022, he announced a break from social media. The decision was not framed as a trend, but as a response to measurable impact. Exposure to constant feedback, positive and negative, affects baseline mood. Social media platforms are designed for engagement, not stability. Algorithms prioritize content that generates reaction. This includes criticism, comparison, and conflict. For public figures, the volume is amplified. Comments are continuous. There is no natural stopping point. He described feeling overwhelmed. This is consistent with broader data. Studies show increased rates of anxiety and depression among individuals with high social media exposure, particularly when feedback is unfiltered. Stepping away reduced input. It limited external noise. But it also highlighted dependency. When a platform is part of daily routine, removing it creates a gap. During this time, he also discussed his relationship with alcohol. After participating in Dry January, he noticed difficulty stopping. This observation led to a longer period of abstinence. He reported maintaining sobriety for over a year. Alcohol consumption is normalized in many social and professional settings. Identifying a pattern early and adjusting behavior is a preventative action. It suggests awareness of risk. Statistically, individuals in high-pressure industries show higher rates of substance use. Long hours, irregular schedules, and constant evaluation contribute to this pattern. His decision to stop was not presented as a public statement initially. It was a private adjustment that later became public. Meanwhile, the franchise continued. Spider-Man: No Way Home became a major commercial event. The film integrated multiple versions of the character, increasing nostalgia and audience engagement. The production required coordination across legacy actors, complex visual effects, and secrecy. Maintaining confidentiality became part of the job. Information leaks can affect marketing strategy. Filming involved both physical performance and interaction with elements that would be added later through visual effects. Acting against green screens requires spatial awareness and imagination. The body must respond to stimuli that are not physically present. By this stage, his routine was highly structured. Wake times adjusted to shooting schedules. Meals planned around training. Physical therapy sessions integrated into daily activity. Sleep managed within constraints. This is the mechanical reality of sustained performance at this level. There is also the issue of aging within a role designed for youth. He entered the role as a teenager. As he approached his late 20s, the physical expectations remain constant, but the body changes. Recovery time increases. Minor injuries take longer to heal. Maintaining the same level of agility requires more preparation. Warm-ups extend. Cool-downs become necessary. Ignoring these steps increases risk. Public perception, however, often remains fixed. The audience expects continuity. The character does not age at the same rate as the actor. This creates a disconnect. The body experiences time. The role resists it. During interviews, he began to speak about the long-term sustainability of the role. Not as a complaint, but as a calculation. How long can the body maintain this output? What are the trade-offs? These questions are practical. Action roles have a shelf life. Some actors transition to less physically demanding work. Others reduce involvement or rely more heavily on doubles. Each option affects authenticity, income, and public perception. At the same time, personal relationships developed under observation. His relationship with Zendaya became public. This introduced another layer of scrutiny. Private interactions became topics of discussion. Photographs were analyzed. Timelines were constructed by external observers. Maintaining a relationship under these conditions requires negotiation of privacy. Decisions about what to share and what to withhold become strategic. The cost is constant awareness. Actions are filtered through potential interpretation. Despite these pressures, he continued to work at a consistent pace. This period of his life is often described as success. financial stability, global recognition, and continuous employment. These are measurable outcomes. But the internal cost is less visible. Fatigue accumulates. Identity narrows. The body adapts under strain. The mind processes constant input. There is no single breaking point. There are multiple small adjustments. Reducing social media use. Adjusting alcohol consumption. Considering future roles. Evaluating physical limits. These are indicators of adaptation, not collapse. The narrative of sudden downfall does not apply here. Instead, the pattern is gradual recalibration. He did not step away entirely. He modified engagement. This is the reality for many individuals in high-output industries. Complete withdrawal is rare. Adjustment is more common. By the end of this phase, he was no longer the emerging actor trying to enter the industry. He was a central component of a global franchise, with responsibilities that extended beyond performance. The question shifted. Not how to succeed, but how to continue without long-term damage. And that question remains open. At 29, Tom Holland wakes up in a body that has been used as a tool for more than a decade. The schedule is no longer chaotic in the way it was at 19. It is controlled. But control does not mean ease. It means precision. Wake time is set based on training requirements or filming calls. Hydration begins early. Food intake is measured, not always by strict dieting, but by awareness. Protein for recovery. Carbohydrates for output. Supplements when necessary. The first physical action of the day is not performance. It is assessment. He checks for stiffness. Lower back, shoulders, knees. These are the common points of strain for someone who has spent years in harnesses, performing jumps, and absorbing impact. Tightness in the lower back is typical after repeated wire work. Shoulder fatigue follows stunt sequences that require hanging or controlled falls. Knees absorb shock from landings, even when technique is correct. This is not injury in the dramatic sense. It is accumulation. Recovery routines are integrated into the day. Stretching is not optional. It is required to maintain range of motion. Without it, performance quality drops and risk increases. Ice baths are used intermittently. They reduce inflammation but also signal the body to adapt to stress. Physical therapy sessions are scheduled, sometimes multiple times a week depending on workload. Therapists work on muscle release, alignment, and correction of imbalances. These imbalances develop when certain muscle groups are overused. For example, dominant use of the right side during specific stunts can create asymmetry. The goal is not to return the body to a neutral state. It is to keep it functional under continued demand. Sleep is monitored more carefully now. In earlier years, sleep loss could be absorbed. At 29, the effects are more direct. Reduced sleep leads to slower recovery, decreased focus, and increased irritability. These are measurable changes, not abstract feelings. He adjusts by prioritizing rest when possible. This often means declining late-night events or limiting social exposure during heavy work periods. Mentally, the structure is similar. Input is controlled. Social media use remains limited. This is not a temporary detox. It has become a sustained boundary. The volume of external opinion has not decreased, but his exposure to it has. This reduces noise. It also creates distance between public perception and private experience. He has maintained sobriety since identifying his relationship with alcohol. This decision changes social dynamics. Many industry interactions are built around shared environments where alcohol is present. Choosing not to participate requires explanation at first, then becomes normalized. Physiologically, abstaining stabilizes sleep patterns, reduces recovery time, and removes a variable that can interfere with mental clarity. The body operates more predictably without it. Professionally, he is in a position where choice exists, but constraints remain. He is still associated with Spider-Man. The association is not temporary. It is embedded in public memory. Any future project is viewed in relation to that role. This affects casting decisions. Directors consider whether audiences will accept him outside the established identity. Some roles are offered specifically because of the association. Others are withheld for the same reason. He has spoken about the possibility of stepping back from physically demanding roles. Not immediately, but as a long-term plan. This is a practical consideration. Action performance has a lifespan. Data from stunt professionals shows increased injury rates with age, particularly after the late 20s. Reaction time decreases incrementally. Recovery time increases. The margin for error narrows. Continuing at the same intensity requires more preparation for less output gain. He has also expressed interest in directing. This represents a shift from physical output to cognitive control. Directing requires sustained attention, decision-making, and management of multiple variables simultaneously. It is a different type of strain. Less impact on the body, more on the mind. His daily routine now includes periods of stillness. This is intentional. Reading scripts, reviewing material, or simply remaining inactive to allow recovery. For someone whose early identity was tied to movement, this is an adjustment. Stillness can feel unproductive. It requires retraining the perception of value. Relationships remain part of his structure. His connection with Zendaya continues under controlled visibility. They appear together publicly, but with limits. This is a negotiated balance between personal life and public interest. Maintaining this balance requires consistency. Sudden changes in visibility trigger speculation. Controlled exposure reduces that effect. Family remains a constant reference point. Returning to familiar environments provides contrast to the industry setting. It reinforces identity outside of work. At 29, mortality is not immediate, but it is acknowledged. Not in terms of death, but in terms of limitation. The body will not improve indefinitely. Peak physical capacity has a range. After that, maintenance becomes the focus. This is a transition many performers resist, but it is unavoidable. He is aware of this. His decisions reflect it. Choosing roles that require less physical strain. Limiting exposure to unnecessary stress. Investing time in skills that extend beyond acting. This is not withdrawal. It is redistribution. The public narrative may still frame him as the young actor at the center of a franchise. Internally, the calculation is different. How to extend a career without accelerating physical decline. How to maintain identity without relying on a single role. How to function in an environment that does not slow down. These are ongoing questions. There are no definitive answers, only adjustments. The visible outcome is stability, continued work, controlled public presence, and absence of major incidents. This is often interpreted as ease. In reality, it is management. Every day involves decisions that reduce risk. When to train, when to rest, when to accept a project, when to decline. These decisions accumulate, just as strain does. At this stage, success is not defined by expansion. It is defined by sustainability. He is no longer proving that he can perform. That has been established. He is determining how long he can continue, and under what conditions. The image remains, the actor in motion, the character in flight. But behind that image is a system of maintenance, limitation, and constant evaluation. That is what happens at 29. Not collapse, not disappearance. Adjustment, a shift from acceleration to control. A recognition that the body has limits, and that ignoring them carries a cost that cannot be reversed. So, what do you think about his story? Let us know in the comments below. If this story made you see him differently, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. We break down the real mechanics behind public lives, the parts that are usually left out. Until then, see you.